What I am about to share with you is not just theory pulled from abstract concepts or intellectual speculation. It is a pattern I have observed and researched after years of studying the psychology of highly sensitive people, empaths, and emotional intelligence, a pattern that has been validated by both clinical research and countless personal experiences. And it explains why empaths transform in ways that seem almost supernatural to outsiders, why they seem to possess an almost mystical ability to perceive the invisible currents of human emotion. If you have ever wondered why you can sense someone's emotional state before they say a single word, why you can walk into a room and immediately feel the tension that everyone else is pretending does not exist, why crowded spaces drain you in ways that do not seem to affect others, or why you sometimes feel physical sensations that mirror what people around you are experiencing, this video will give you the scientific framework to understand what is actually happening beneath the surface of your conscious awareness. Researchers are only beginning to map the neurological basis of empathic sensitivity, the biological foundation of the empath's experience. Studies using functional magnetic resonance imaging, or fMRI, have shown that empathic individuals often have mirror neuron systems that are more active than average, that their brains are literally wired differently from the rest of the population. Mirror neurons are the brain's way of simulating others' experiences, of creating an internal model of what someone else is feeling or doing. And in empaths, this simulation happens at a level that is both extraordinary and, at times, overwhelming, creating a constant stream of emotional information that never fully stops. Today, we are diving deep into 7 signs you are a Heyoka, the most powerful and rare empath type, a gift that is as rare as it is powerful. And what you learn may fundamentally change how you view your gift, transforming your relationship with your sensitivity forever. To understand this fully, we need to examine what the research actually tells us about human behavior and relationships, to build a foundation of knowledge that will illuminate the empath's experience. Studies in social psychology, behavioral neuroscience, and attachment theory all point to the same fundamental truth. Human behavior is far more predictable than most people realize, and understanding these patterns gives you significant advantages in every area of life. Research by Dr. Roy Baumeister on belongingness motivation demonstrates that humans have a fundamental need to connect with others, a drive that is as basic as hunger or thirst. This need is not just psychological, not just a desire for companionship. It is biological, rooted in our evolutionary history as social creatures who survive through cooperation. Social isolation activates the same threat response systems as physical danger, triggering a cascade of stress hormones that prepare the body for emergency. But this need for connection exists in constant tension with our equally fundamental need for autonomy, for the freedom to be ourselves without being controlled by others. Dr. Jack Braham's research on reactance theory shows that when people feel their freedom is threatened, they experience psychological reactance, a state that motivates them to restore their freedom. This explains why people often want something more when they feel it might be taken away, and why telling someone they cannot have something often makes them want it more. On the neurological level, research using functional MRI has revealed that social rejection activates the same brain regions as physical pain, a discovery that has profound implications for understanding human behavior. This is not metaphorical or poetic, not a figure of speech. The anterior cingulate cortex and insula, which process physical pain, also activate during social exclusion, meaning that a broken heart and a broken bone share neural real estate. This explains why emotional wounds can feel as intense as physical ones, and why social threats can trigger such powerful responses, often more powerful than the threat of physical harm. Dr. Matthew Lieberman's research on social neuroscience, presented in his book Social, demonstrates that our brains are wired to prioritize social information, that we are constantly scanning our environment for social cues, threats, and opportunities. This means that social dynamics are not just interesting sidelines to human existence, not just a part of life. They are one of our brain's primary concerns, a focus that shapes our decisions and our emotions. What this means practically is that the patterns we observe in relationships are not random, not accidents of circumstance. They follow predictable psychological laws that can be understood and anticipated. The person who seems less interested often becomes more attractive due to the scarcity principle, because limited availability increases perceived value. The one who walks away often becomes more valued due to loss aversion, because the fear of losing something is twice as powerful as the desire to gain it. The one who maintains emotional stability while others react becomes perceived as higher status, because calmness in chaos signals strength. Understanding these laws does not make you manipulative, does not mean you are using knowledge to control others. It makes you informed, aware, and capable of navigating the complexities of human interaction with greater skill. In a world where emotional intelligence determines success more than raw IQ, where the ability to understand and manage emotions is the single best predictor of life outcomes, this information is essential. The distinction between manipulation and wisdom is intent, the purpose that guides your use of knowledge. Manipulation uses this knowledge to exploit others, to gain advantage at their expense. Wisdom uses it to protect yourself and create genuine connections, to build relationships that are based on mutual respect rather than exploitation. The Heyoka empath is perhaps the most powerful expression of this wisdom, a type of empath that is rare even among highly sensitive people. The Heyoka, sometimes called the sacred clown or contrary in Native American traditions, is a person who operates on a level that transcends ordinary understanding. They see through illusions that others accept as reality. They perceive patterns that others miss, and they have the ability to reflect back to people what they need to see, rather than what they want to see. This can make them intensely uncomfortable to be around, because they hold up a mirror that shows people the truth about themselves. But it can also make them profoundly healing, because they see through the masks that others wear. The first sign that you may be a Heyoka empath is that you experience emotional information as physical sensation, that you feel emotions in your body before your mind has processed what is happening. You may feel a tightness in your chest when someone is hiding something, a knot in your stomach when a situation is about to escalate, or a sudden wave of exhaustion when you enter a space that is emotionally charged. This is not imagination or anxiety. It is your mirror neuron system working at an extraordinary level, processing emotional information faster than your conscious mind can keep up. The second sign is that you often know things you should not know, that you have insights that seem to come from nowhere. You may predict a friend's breakup before they even suspect anything is wrong. You may sense that a person is lying even when their words are convincing. You may have dreams that later prove to be prophetic. This is not magical thinking. It is your brain processing patterns that are invisible to others, connecting dots that do not seem connected, and arriving at conclusions that seem to come from intuition but are actually the result of deep information processing. The third sign is that you are often misunderstood and judged for your intensity, that people find you too much or too intense. You may have been told that you think too much, feel too deeply, or take things too personally. This is not a flaw. It is a sign that you are operating on a level that most people cannot access. Your depth of perception is not a weakness. It is a gift. The fourth sign is that you are deeply affected by collective emotions, that you absorb the emotional state of entire groups without trying. Walking into a crowded room can feel like being hit by a wave of feeling. Watching the news can leave you exhausted for days. This is because you are not just processing your own emotions. You are processing the emotions of everyone around you, filtering information that most people simply do not perceive. The fifth sign is that you are drawn to healing and transformation, that you want to help people see themselves more clearly. You may be a therapist, a coach, a teacher, or simply someone who friends turn to when they are struggling. You have a gift for seeing potential that others cannot see, and you are often able to help people unlock parts of themselves they did not know existed. The sixth sign is that you have experienced profound isolation, that you have often felt like you do not belong anywhere. Because you see the world differently, because you perceive things that others do not, you may have spent much of your life feeling like an outsider. This isolation is painful, but it is also part of your journey. It forces you to develop your own internal compass, to trust your own perceptions even when no one else validates them. The seventh sign is that your presence changes the energy in a room, that people often react strongly to you, whether positively or negatively. Some people are drawn to you, feeling that you truly see them. Others are uncomfortable, feeling exposed by your perception. This is not something you are doing intentionally. It is simply the effect of your presence, the way your sensitivity interacts with the energy of others. The Heyoka empath is the most powerful type of empath because they are not just sensitive to emotion, they are sensitive to truth, and they have the courage to see and speak what others would rather ignore. The journey of the Heyoka is not easy, because they are often called to confront illusions, both their own and those of others. They must learn to see through the stories that people tell themselves, the narratives that are more comfortable than the truth. They must learn to hold space for others without losing themselves in the process, to be present without being consumed. They must learn to protect their own energy while remaining open, to set boundaries without becoming cold. This is the path of the Heyoka, and it is a path that few are called to walk. But for those who are called, it is a journey of profound awakening, a transformation that reshapes every aspect of their life. The research on highly sensitive persons, the work of Dr. Elaine Aron, and the studies on mirror neurons all point to the same conclusion. Your sensitivity is not a flaw, not a burden. It is a gift, a superpower that sets you apart from the majority of humanity. The Heyoka empath is the rarest and most powerful expression of this gift. A person who sees what others cannot see, and who has the courage to reflect that truth back to the world. If you recognize yourself in these signs, you are not broken. You are not too sensitive. You are a Heyoka, and your gift is needed in a world that is often blind to its own illusions. The psychology we have explored today is not just theory, not just interesting ideas to ponder. It is a practical toolkit for navigating human relationships more effectively, understanding yourself more deeply, and creating the life you actually want. Use it wisely, with intention and compassion. Use it ethically, with respect for yourself and others. And use it to build the connections that deserve your energy, relationships that are based on mutual respect and understanding. Understanding the psychology of human behavior does not make you cynical, does not make you cold or detached. It makes you effective, empathetic, and ultimately more powerful in the best possible way. Because when you understand why people behave the way they do, you can respond with wisdom rather than reaction. You can protect yourself without becoming defensive. You can connect with others without losing yourself. This is the gift of emotional intelligence, and it is a gift that the Heyoka empath possesses in abundance. If this video resonated with you, if you recognized yourself in the 7 signs we have explored, take a moment to like this video and share it with someone who needs to hear this message. Subscribe to Human Behavior Intelligence for more research-backed insights into human behavior, the hidden patterns that shape our lives, and the psychology of the highly sensitive person. Drop a comment with your biggest takeaway, your experience, or your question. Your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today. And remember, your sensitivity is not a weakness. It is a superpower, a gift that sets you apart. The world needs people who can see the truth, who can hold space for others, who can reflect back the light that others cannot see in themselves. That is the gift of the Heyoka, and if you have it, you are called to use it. Until next time, stay observant, stay curious, and never stop learning about the fascinating complexity of human behavior. Because the more you understand, the more you can grow, and the more you can help others grow as well.